it was quite the experience for the children, for us. And, we are extremely grateful that we had a dwelling that did not get seriously damaged and kept us safe during the storm. And also that nobody lost their life during the storm. That was a blessing because when we went outside and we saw like the trees were just raised, like there were like places where there was jungle, there was like you could see clear through like a good distance because all the trees were gone. It was nuts. It was like, oh, I didn't even know that building was back there. Like that's how crazy. And I bring that up too because here I'm walking on this beach and I haven't been to this particular beach since the storm.
Fear stops us from achieving our true greatness. Are you a professional woman who is feeling stuck, unmotivated, or burned out? Are you worried about your wellness? Are you letting fear stop you from crushing your goals? If you answered yes to any or all of these, then this is the podcast for you. Dr. Charmaine Gregory, night shift emergency physician, burnout thriver, and wellness champion, along with everyday heroes just like you, will explore how to face fear in our lives and emerge victoriously.
Hey, thanks for checking out this episode. Be sure to click the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you get notified when the next video comes out. It only takes 2 seconds to make 2 clicks. So let's do it. Let's get back to the video.
All right. Hello, 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 hello. This is Dr. G, and welcome to a on location episode of the Fearless Freedom with Dr. G podcast. I have not done an update in quite a while, so I figured now is a good time, towards the end of the summer. And, we had a lot of things happening this summer that I can definitely speak on. So I figured I would make this episode where we would talk about that. And what better place to do this than walking on the beach? So here I am. I'm at Matapang Beach. Okay, so who's behind me here. And basically it's morning time on a Thursday, and beach is not very populated right now because it's just like all the kids are in school, and mostly some few tourists are down here, but still absolutely beautiful. We're in rainy season, and we had quite a lot of rainy days this last week and a half because of the tropical depression that was local, and we got lots of rain from that. So we're finally having some dry days, and I think people are coming out and taking advantage of that. So there's that. All right, so wow, where to start? Okay, so the first thing is, we had quite a scare back in May. And so, we've lived here now for almost 3 years. We moved here in when was it? February of 2021. And this is our home now, of course. I should probably mention that. And anyway, we moved here in 2021, February. And, we were here in the middle of the COVID pandemic. So the island was quite quiet. Everybody was sheltering in place and all the things that we're supposed to do to kind of help to curb the spread of the infection. And then last year, we were like coming out of it, and people were the island was starting to wake up, and we're starting to travel and starting to do more things. And this is the time when I really realized how much there is going on here, like how much there is to do here, how much the spirit of the island, the people of the island, how vibrant it is, right? So learning all that stuff. And then we had last summer we had like a storm warning, because every time there's rainy season, there's always the possibility of a tropical storm. And so we had a storm warning. They call them typhoons. We had a storm warning, and thankfully, we got prepared and everything. Thankfully, it was not anything to speak of, anything crazy. And so, that was a blessing. And then this year now, we had another storm warning come in May, towards the end of May. And this time it was sounding pretty darn serious. It's sounding like things were going to be pretty dire, right? So, of course, we took action, and we did all the things we're supposed to do to get ready for the storm. And the storm hit, and it was like a super typhoon, like out in the ocean near to the island. It was literally ranked as a super typhoon. I mean, 160 miles an hour winds, etc. When it hit us, it was something to really speak of because it was quite intense. It was hours. It was almost like 48 hours or something like that, almost 72 hours with just like heavy, heavy wind and rain. And it was just very like scary, as we are fortunate in that most of the housing here is built like bunkers, right? So you're going to have these concrete dwellings that have rebar on the inside. So it's going to be the concrete blocks, and then it has the rebar in between the blocks, and then they pour concrete inside of that. So it's like built to not be moved, like very, very strong. And so the houses are built like that. Even the roof is concrete. Like very, very few of the newer dwellings are built with the roof not being concrete because of the fact that there's these crazy storms that can come through. And they even went so far as like after the last storm, they had a storm a few years ago, like maybe like 15 years ago, that was really, really bad. And they were out of power for like 6 months. And so one of the things that they did when they were doing their assessment was that they realized that they really had to, what do you call this now? They had to change out the electricity poles, because they were wooden. So they changed it to concrete poles, right? So now the majority of the electricity poles are concrete. And that's amazing. And that was good because that really helped this go around. So anyway, we're all ready for this thing. We're like, yeah, okay, we bought all the food and had the water and everything and was ready, like lock up in the house, because he put there's shutters. There's some shutters that go on the outside that you can literally like seal up. I mean, you seal the house up, like literally dark in there, so sealed up. And so we did that. And I kid you not, like the hydrostatic pressure was so great that like, even though all of the building was sealed up, the water was like coming through the walls. Like the wall was like, the hydrostatic pressure was building up so intensely external to the building that like it would bleed through the walls, and then you would like have the wall, like water would just be running down the side of the walls. And then, so there was that happening. And then the wind, like it was super fast, like over 100 miles an hour. And it was like, you could hear it like just bam, bam, bam on the side of the house. And, you're just in there like, oh my God, is the wall going to hold up? Like, it just was quite an experience. So talk about fear, okay? That was something else, because just sitting there knowing that you can't really go outside, you don't know what's happening outside, you're just hoping that like people are safe and nobody is hurt or injured. That part was pretty intense. And so when we were able to come outside, like after the winds had kind of died down and the rain had stopped, I mean, we were looking at the window, we'd see things flying through the air. Like we had a basketball net that was outside of the, like in the driveway. That thing was anchored with like sand and sandbags, and it was heavy. Okay, like it should not have moved. The thing picked up like a toothpick and like went like 50 yards down the street. Like that was what happened. We have a metal gate that was just like bobbing and weaving. That just like, the thing is super heavy. Again, just bobbing and weaving, and then like a little rag doll with the wind. Just so many things, like the lanai in our backyard, like all the paneling of the lanai just ripped off and went flying. It was just nuts. Like we saw footage of one person, unfortunately, their car was in the parking lot. It was a house that was near to an apartment complex that was near to the ocean, and the pickup truck just literally the wind got underneath it, picked it up, and they started rolling it. Like that is how much and how vigorous the wind power was. And so yeah, that was quite an experience living through Mawar and having to deal with that. But during that time, we lost power. And so that part added a little element of like suspense and concern. But we were able to utilize, like the gas stove. Um, some people are very, very smart and had generators. We didn't have a generator, but I think for the next go around, we're gonna make sure we have a generator for powering the fridge and things like that. So all in all, it was quite the experience for the children, for us. And, we are extremely grateful that we had a dwelling that did not get seriously damaged and kept us safe during the storm. And also that nobody lost their life during the storm. That was a blessing, because when we went outside and we saw like the trees were just raised, like there were like places where there was jungle, there was like you could see clear through like a good distance because all the trees were gone. It was nuts. It was like, oh, I didn't even know that building was back there. Like that's how crazy. And I bring that up too because here I'm walking on this beach and I haven't been to this particular beach since the storm. And I'm gonna try. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to flip the screen around, but okay, if you see here, there's like a water line. There's like a line there on the wall. That's where the ground previously was. It was up to there, right? And so it's like we had a lot of like what do they call that? They don't call it what do they call that? What do they call when the thing washes away? I forget what the term, but there was a lot of that. And then also there was a lot of like the foliage that would be normally present is gone. So like the whole landscape of this beach is like completely changed, completely different. And that's how it is in many places on the island. So yeah, so that was our May adventure. And then it continued because after the storm was done, there was like the picking up the pieces part. And we did not have power for a couple of weeks. And, we were lucky because some people went like 6 weeks without any power. I had colleagues at work who 6 weeks, no power. And then we had no water for like 3 weeks. So we would go to the mayor's office in the early morning and gather water in big containers. And then, yeah, it was very interesting. But I will say that how the storm was handled, how the post-storm recovery efforts was handled was quite impressive. I know people say like it wasn't as quick as it should be, but I was impressed at the speed of it because I know and have lived places where there's been big storms and they sure don't recover as quickly as this island has. So that's a credit to the leadership because they recognized the intensity of this particular one and they got FEMA involved early in the game, like before the storm touched down, which allowed for them to be able to do the things they need to do like more quickly than if it was like, on the other side of things. So yeah, no, it's a lot to be really grateful for and is a blessing. So yeah, so we made it through that. That was like May, early June.
Hey, it's Dr. G, and I just wanted to take a quick moment to thank you for listening to this episode. I'm so honored to have you here with me. Did you know that I can help you to get your own podcast started? With my podcasting launch course for professionals, I walk you through everything you need to know about starting a podcast. I'm with you every step of the way from sign up to launching your show with 5 episodes ready to go. There's a done for you version that's also available if you would just rather just do recordings and leave the behind the scenes work up to us, then that one is definitely for you. But either way, we've got your back here at Fearless Freedom with Dr. G. Oh, if you already have a show and you need production services, we have monthly plans available for you. So check out the links in the episode show notes for more information. Let's get back to the show.
And then immediately afterwards, the kids and I went to Korea. Went to Korea for a short time because a friend of ours, a family that we know that we're close to, they're moving to the States and they're originally from Korea. So they stopped in Korea first. And so we got a chance to see Korea. Shout out to Julie and Joanne and Justin, um, because they gave us a great tour of Korea. So we got a chance to hang out in Seoul and see all of the cool things there. And it was a great visit. So I'm definitely grateful to be able to have spent time with friends on a trip like that. And so that was June. And then July, July was cool because July was a time when the kids got to face some of their fears and really emerge victoriously. Like the girls basically started playing basketball a whole lot more and, you know, started to develop their game, which super proud of them because, you know, that you just never know, like, if the kids are going to listen to you when you tell them stuff. So everything that we told them, they did it, and they did it beyond expectation. And so much so that they were able to participate in like a FIFA regulation 3-on-3 tournament. It was a local tournament, but it was on a FIFA regulation, FIBA regulation court, and with the FIBA rules for 3-on-3. And so they got an opportunity to do that. It was very public. It was in a mall. And so they got a chance to do that. And they were down. They were down. They lost 3 games. They lost their first 2 games. They were kind of like, we don't know if we can do this, but they didn't give up. They didn't give up. They did not let the fact that it's on a public stage stop them. It did not let the fact that they hadn't won stop them. They just kept on playing. Like every game was a new game, and they played. And as a result, they basically were able to get through the elimination game and make it to the finals. And in the finals, they went up against a team that had actually beat them 3 times already that weekend. So it was like the odds were stacked against them. Like, you know, they're not going to win. They're the underdogs. And those girls, they kept their heads high. They did what they're supposed to do. And, you know, in the end, guess what? They win. They won the whole thing. They literally won the whole thing. And so there's such a testament to the fact that, like, you cannot give up no matter what, no matter how things look. You can't give up, because if you have skin in the game, if you are determined to make it happen, it will happen. And, you know, if it doesn't happen, then you did your best and you have no regrets, which is the best, right? Like, that is the worst feeling, to have regrets. So there was that. And then immediately after that, they got a chance to participate in an international tournament with US, Guam, and Philippines. And they were the only girls team in this tournament. And so they had to play against middle school boys. And the boys were bigger, stronger, faster than them, but they did not let that stop them. They played with such heart. They like kept backing those boys down. They like weren't afraid to get in there and make things happen. And as a result, they had tremendous growth from that. And all because they faced their fear. They did not let the fact that they were the only girls, that the boys were bigger than them, like, they did not let any of that stop them. And they just went forward anyway. Like, they felt the fear, but they did it anyway. And as a result, they had a fantastic outcome. So yeah, I think, you know, that kind of sums up July. And then literally my son and I just got back from Mexico because he turned 15, and then I had to go to Mexico for a business trip. One of my investment company has a investment group has a couple times a year they do an mogul event, and this was one of them, and they did it in Cancun. And so we got a chance to go on a 110-foot yacht and, you know, hang out at a mansion by the water and have some like lifestyle perks, you know. And so he came with me for that. And so that was kind of like business trip slash birthday trip. So that was really neat. And how we faced fear during that particular venture was when he wanted to go on an excursion with snorkeling. Okay, so if you watch this podcast or if you watch my blog, you know that me and snorkeling don't get along, right? I had a panic attack on my honeymoon when we were snorkeling. I thought I was gonna die, and ever since then, I have issues with it. I have tried to face my fear pretty boldly by going snorkeling with my nurses, but it takes a lot to do it, and I still don't feel completely comfortable doing it. So anyway, he wants to go snorkeling, and we're like, okay, we're gonna get the chance to swim with the turtles. So here we are. We're in Quintana Roo, Mexico, and the swimming with the turtle thing is happening. So I didn't realize that we had to go all the way out to the reef for this, right? So this was not like in my mind, and probably good, because if it were, I would not have said yes. And so anyway, so the first thing we do is we go on a boat and we go out to this reef, okay? And we're in deep water, okay? I'm like, okay, this is deep water. And I'm already like panicked because I don't really like deep water. And so anyway, I'm there. I have on my life vest because that is the only way to go, right? Life vest. And I'm in the water literally not even 10 seconds. And I'm feeling myself breathing way too fast. And of course, you have the little snorkel thing, the breather. I don't know what that thing is called, the pipe. And I try to breathe through the pipe. And I'm like, okay, it's not working. I try to tell myself, okay, this is just your fear talking. It's just your fear talking. Like, stop. Like, you can do this. Like, you just have to slow down your breathing. And I'm trying. And then I'm like, I don't want to ruin this for him because I know he's having a good time. And he's out there happy as a clam, floating around, looking down, trying to find the stuff. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to ruin it for him. So I'm like, okay, I can't talk myself off the ledge. So I said, I'm not going to get out the water because that's not a good example, right? But I also don't want to endanger myself because obviously his mom having a catastrophe while they're on vacation when I'm the only parent with him is not going to be good either. So I finally said, you know what? I just raised my hand. They brought the little donut over, and that donut and I were best friends for the rest of the time, rest of the excursion. I was like, when I want to look at something, I would just hold my breath and go down there, look, and then come back up and breathe. So it was like, I am not going to miss out on this experience. I'm not going to let him miss out on the experience just because I'm afraid, right? So that's how I got over that one. Crazy. So yeah, so that was like our big like fear facing thing. And he did a big fear facing item. Another time we were at another excursion. It was at a cenote, and the jump, you can enter the cenote as a cavern. So you can enter it from like one of two places. You can either jump off of like a 20-foot high up ledge, or you can go down a staircase. Okay. So, people were like, oh, try jumping, whatever. He had done some jumping off of high things here on island because there's Inaugural pools has like a platform you can jump off of into the pools. So he's done that a few times. This one was higher though. This one was like 21 feet. So I wasn't sure if he'd do it or not. So anyway, he was like, oh, I don't know. And I was like, well, dude, you can face the fear. You can do it. You've done it before. Like, this is like, it's proof of concept out there. Like, it's not like a brand new thing like you've never done. So he said, okay. And then he went, and he was just like, he was of the ilk of, I'm not even going to think about it too much. I'm just going to do it. And that dude just like jumped. I was so proud of him. So proud that he just did that. He jumped and he totally like nailed it. I mean, granted, he did kind of like dive butt first, which is kind of weird, but he did it. And then, of course, I went down the staircase. So I went down the staircase and came in on the other side of the cavern. And then later on, he's like, I'm going to try it again. And I'm like, you are? He's like, yeah, I want to do it again. I want to make sure I do it like at least twice. I was like, okay. So sure enough, that guy went ahead and he did it again. He did it twice. And he faced his fear. And he just jumped in. I mean, he was like making adults look silly because there were several adults who were just like him and Han about it. going to the edge, like, I think I'm gonna jump. No, I think I'm not gonna jump. I think I'm gonna jump. And he was just like, excuse me. And he just was like, whoop, jump right off. So proud of that guy for doing that. So yeah, no, lots of fear facing this summer, lots of growth. And now they're all back in school and sports seasons are starting. So we're going to be doing all that craziness. But yeah, now we had an amazing summer. And we spent the majority of time on island, which was amazing. And yeah, so that's the update. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of give you guys an update because I know, like I said, the big storm happened to us, and we would live through that piece, and just all of the adventures. We had such good adventures, so many memories that are built, and then to me, like that's like the most important. Like I am not a big proponent for like things, but man, experiences, I love that. I will spend my last dime on an experience so that we can have a memory that we share, and it's just different. It's different. But yeah, so that's our deal. I hope that you enjoyed this. And I also hope that you will be strong, be brave, and unleash your greatness until the next episode of Fearless Freedom with Dr. G podcast. This was the summer of 2023 update coming at you from Matapang Beach. All right, take care.
Thank you for joining me on this episode of Fearless Freedom with Dr. G. Again, I'm Dr. G. And if you like this episode, be sure to subscribe so that you can get notified of when the next episode is going to be. And also, I'll catch you next time. Have a great one. Be strong, be brave, and unleash your greatness.